We are a group of investors that get together in the morning and talk about both long-term investing and short-term investing, do a little bit of day trading, and answer your questions that are out there. What you don't see is off to the side, there's a chat room and a question and answer room and a participant room. That's how everybody's communicating each other. It's just not just me talking in the morning, but we're answering questions and going back and forth, that sort of thing. So if you want to try us out, reach out to me at steve@ototnow.com, and I'll get you set up with a free trial. All right, the rest of this is a military fighter pilot style briefing, so let's get started. Our mission objectives today are going to be grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. The tactical objective that we're going to talk about is, the other day we talked about how to invest in IPOs. Today we're going to talk about some IPOs. There are actually 5 of them that are IPOing today, 5 different companies. And we're going to go through those, and then I will talk to you about the ETF, of course, called IPO, which is another way to play the IPO craze that is going on right now. But, and then the question today is, how is share price determined in an IPO, which is really weird, because when you put in for these things, you just allocate an amount of money, like $10,000, and share price, they can tell you expect it to be 18 to 20, and then if there's a bunch of demand, they'll tell you share prices at 25. It's kind of ridiculous how much they control behind the scenes, but it is what it is. You should just know about it if you're going to participate in it. So we'll talk about it. Our flow today will be long, short, open, short, long. We're going to start with a market review around the world, and we'll go to today's headlines here in the U.S. We're going to talk about those 5 names: U, Snow, Step, MTCR, Frog. Can't believe Frog was still available as a ticker. And then, of course, the ETF, appropriately named IPO. We'll do some day trading. We'll get through about 10 minutes prior. We'll get into day trading mode. There are several things in play today that are setting up nicely for us. We'll go through that, watch the market open, and then about 10 minutes after that, we'll wrap up the day trading stuff, get back into long-term investing, get to your questions and answers, and move on to the question of the day. For contingencies, if you're having any issues, reach out to me at steve@ototnow.com, and we'll get those issues resolved for you. And a standard disclaimer applies. The information in this presentation is educational only, and anything you take action on, you need to do your own due diligence to make sure that it is right for you. All right, let's take a look at the overview of the market. We're going up to Think Pipes with TD Ameritrade. Share that out to you. There's our 4 screens that we're going to be trading on later. But before we do that, let's talk about the year in review. This is the SPY 1-year look. You've noticed a couple new, these are automatically generated trend lines that show up. So there's the two lines here, the kind of new uptrend that we've been in now that this bottom of it has held in the past couple of days. So see, most of those candlesticks are red, meaning that it closed lower than it opened, but just like yesterday, it was a green day. It just gapped up and then closed during the day. We're starting out as a green day right now, so we'll see if that holds. But all in all, it's officially recognizing that as an up channel, and that's holding. It did look kind of dire last week when we had the 10% move down in the NASDAQ, which let's take a look at that real quick to see if it gets a trend line as well. QQQ. No, not quite. A little more of a move down there in the NASDAQ, and tech has recovered a little bit there. And again, largely Apple and Tesla are the ones driving the moves there. So, all right, back to the SPY. We'll zoom in here for a 5-day look, which is right here. So again, the dark blue days are the market open. This is where the market was, even though it was higher. Here's where it closed on Monday. Went down, gapped up, and then went down during the course of the day. Here's where it closed. So that's why it's a red candlestick, even though it was up on the day. And again, nice pop overnight. Things are looking pretty good out there. Not a lot of negativity in the news cycle. As far as the earnings calendar, we had FedEx last night and Adobe, both of which beat earnings. FedEx crushed earnings. They're gapping up 10% this morning, so you'll see them again shortly. And then ERC, which I'm blanking on, also beat earnings. I can't remember what the name of that ticker is. We'll take a look at that as well. So earnings overall going pretty well, even though we're not in earnings seasons anymore. All right, we'll get our chart set up there for later on and come on down to the headlines. which are on CNBC. Should be seeing that pop up now. A quick refresh on these. All right, so you can see that the pre-market is in the green, about 0.5%. Tech only about 0.25%. So looking pretty good. EU's down, but it's barely down across the board, so not a whole lot to worry about there. Same thing, kind of a muted day over in Asia. Not any real big movement. These were our final closing numbers from yesterday. Remember, if you're following along all day like I do, the Dow went red there for a while on into the afternoon and then popped back up and just barely closed in the green. But the NASDAQ was pretty well steady the whole day as far as tech recovering. Apple up a couple of percent. Here's the VIX. We talk about that on occasion, down at 25. Again, I think that'll spike back up to around 30 or higher in the next downturn. All right, over to bonds. Not a whole lot of movement in the bonds. As far as oil bounced nicely yesterday, up to 39, so maybe that'll get back above 40 or so. Over in precious metals, not a whole lot of movement across the board there to talk about. All right, so what is the big news in the headline today? Well, it's the Federal Reserve meeting. So, you know, they have these two-day meetings, and then they make the announcement at 2 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday after their two-day meeting. They release the Fed announcement, which, again, is about a big paragraph is really all it is. It's not like a 50-page sort of thing. And they do a side-by-side with what verbiage has changed. And literally everything that, you know, if they modify anything, it's got the line through. If you remember the old Microsoft Word, looking at the corrected version. But that's how they update things. So that'll hit, and then simultaneously Chairman Powell will be talking on CNBC and the other major news stations about what's going on. You know that we expect a lower for longer type interest rate environment, which again, they're saying out to maybe 2023. I'm saying 2030. I just don't see a way out of this. I really don't. Maybe I'm not smart enough, but I'll pay attention and maybe get smarter, but I don't see how we're not longer for basically a good decade, if you will. All right. Software IPOs, we're going to talk about one today called Snow that's coming out there. It's a Berkshire Hathaway name software. All right, biggest IPO of the year. Yep. This was bad for Boeing. I had their chart up earlier. I didn't see them move down just yet, but we'll see Boeing on the short side. Obviously, the FAA came out, or House report slams Boeing, not the FAA, but report slammed Boeing there, and that's not good as far as the 737 MAX. All right, let's see. Snowflake we'll talk about today. Again, software company backed by Warren Buffett, which is kind of weird because he doesn't really mess in tech, but he's given this one the thumbs up, so we shall see. All right, Hurricane Sally in the Gulf, you know about that. Oh, here's a big one for DraftKings. So DraftKings and New York Giants inked a deal overnight. So they are the official sponsor of the Giants. When you look at their 600 sports teams you can bet on in DraftKings, I read this in the article this morning, the New York Giants were number 40 out of all of those. But it's interesting because it's not legal in New York. So I don't know exactly I don't know how DraftKings works. I don't know if there's some way of it blocking you if you're actually in New York from being able to gamble. I don't know. But assuming it's the Wild West and you're not being blocked, there's probably a lot of people gambling in New York on their football team. But we shall see. Team's not all that impressive is what I would say. But so more out of DraftKings and how aggressive they're being out there. Some upgrades, Overstock, you know, that's a name we played long the other day, or we took at it. We never did take the trade in it. I think Burner might have taken a late trade in it, but we didn't take it at the open. Overstock got an upgrade today, so that'll be going higher. Apple and Tesla both marching higher. Tapestry is the parent owner of Coach and Kate Spade. They got an upgrade today as well, so we'll keep an eye on those. FedEx up, Adobe up, Kodak's up 40% today. So they did that initial finding from whether or not there was insider trading going on at Kodak. And at least the initial look is that there was not any illegal activity going into Kodak that jumped, 100% in a day. So anyhow, Kodak's back in play. It's up 40% this morning. All right, here's the last one. Well, here's two that I want to talk about. Okay. Blackstone is a private equity firm, so it benefits them to say something like exactly this, whether they believe it or not. I'm sure they do believe it, but it's also a little bit of a self-serving headline. It would be like me telling my clients that the real estate market's about to crash. Well, by me saying that, then I'm in effect trying to force money out of real estate and into the stock market so I could manage them. So that would be self-serving. Well, Blackstone is private equity, where they take your money and kind of put it in a black box, do a bunch of stuff with it. They get fantastic returns. I have a couple Blackstone investments now, but they're by them warning of a lost decade. It's a little bit like, are you just saying that to get more money to flow into your type of investing, or do you really mean it? But yeah, we can be set up when you really look at how far we've come from 2009. From the March 9th, 2009 low, 400 to 500% straight up into our more recent, drop here in COVID. It really has been kind of eye-watering, all the money that's been made. And every time the market tries to sell off, and people end up buying it right back. Part of that's the low interest rates, because there's no other way to earn any money. So that's propping the market up. If that would ever go away, then you're right. I think we would be looking at a couple of years of muted to negative returns. But right now, it seems like that's just not going to happen. So we'll see. All right, Snowflake prices IPO above increased range. So we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but basically while we have the headline up, Snowflake is ticker Snow, S-N-O-W, software company. They priced at like 15 to 18 dollars, did the roadshow. That was everybody's expectation. Then they moved it to like 18 to 20, and now it's up like 25. So it's kind of weird when you just have money out there and you've applied for your IPO shares. You just say, hey, I want $10,000 worth. And when they finally figure the price, they issue it to you. So they try to nail the price at exactly where the market will hold it. They don't try to play a game and underprice it to where it doubles, even though that happens sometimes because people get crazy. They're trying to price it dead on, so they say. But obviously, you get less shares if they price it higher. So you'd rather them price it lower if you get your shares. So anyhow, that's enough on the headlines of the day. Overall, in the green, not really much or any negativity out there in the market. So that'll generally hold things higher, unless the Fed throws a curveball again. It'll be 2 p.m. Eastern that you can tune back in, if you will, and kind of see what's going on with the market then. All right, switching to our long-term long-term topic of the day is IPO investing. Well, the other 5 that we're going to talk about are IPOing today, so they're blank charts. So this is really the only chart to talk about. But when you think of an index fund that goes out there and sops up there's like 6 of them that I found with a simple Google search, is they're applying to buy up a lot of the shares. So when you think of an IPO company, say there's 100% of the shares, well, like 30% of the shares stay with the company, like 10 to 20% go with the underwriter, and then the other 50 are out on the market. That's the float. Well, these companies are applying to get those shares pretty heavily. So it's kind of squeezing smaller investors out of it. I don't know if it's BS, or I don't know if there's a lottery. I know that once TD Ameritrade and Schwab get their allocation of shares, that they treat it like a lottery. So there's no preferential treatment to being a bigger player out there. They simply lottery it up, and you either get shares or you don't. And then if Afterburner Financial gets shares, then I go out to my clients and I just, if I get, if I wanted $10,000 worth of shares and I only get 5,000, well, I give everybody who wanted it half allocation and call it good. So that's kind of how all of that works. But these bigger IPO things, if you don't want the risk of an individual IPO, you can certainly invest in this. And it's really basically trucked higher. If you put this next to the SPY, though, it's kind of interesting, is it's not all that different. It's made a little bit more money than the SPY. But I would imagine, since it's riskier, it would also lose more money when it goes down as well. But you can see the returns over here. 6-month return over 100%. That's kind of cheating coming from down here in the lows of the March. But performance year to date, 59%. That's pretty good. So it's one of these. I'm going to take a look at each of these. They are expensive. They're around 1% as far as the fee on them, which I don't like. But if you're getting these kind of returns regularly, well, okay, pay the fee and get the return. So no real problem there. All right, let's go over to Schwab and we'll take a look at did I share out the right one there? I'm not sure I did. Let me double check. All right, share that one. I think I did. Okay, so here's what they look like. You've got the blank names up here, which doesn't tell you a whole lot. But when you're an IPO trader, if you don't get shares, this is what your day looks like. If this is part of your thesis, and I'll follow along. I'll follow Snow today. It'll stay on my list all day long, just because I'm curious to see how it acts, since they've moved around the price a lot. So since they've manipulated it a lot, I'm interested to see if it's actually going to jump like most of them do. But basically, you'd have the ones that are waiting the IPO out there on the data not available. And then you have your IPO, the index fund down here at the bottom right. And basically, these things just jump to life when you get to the point to where they start trading. So that's what your display looks like. And then again, here's Snow up here in the upper right-hand corner. So at the first trade, they generally start trading around noon Eastern. So depending on your time zone, kind of pick middle of the day, and then boom, it drops. CNBC usually covers it for about 5 minutes of trading for each one of the IPOs. But, if they're on a program, they'll stop what they're doing and then talk to the IPO and then go from there. All right, so that is all we're going to see out of that kind of chart. Let's take a look at stuff that's moving up and down on the day. All right, gapping up, we got FedEx 9%, BRC was up 5, now it's 4, okay. Adobe's not gapping up as much. Let's see. GILD was in here somewhere. That's Gilead. They had a new drug release. I'm not seeing it now. FedEx, we talked about. Aveo, AVEO, have a new oncology drug that's out. They're gapping up 10%. Let's see, VECO, VECO, don't know what they are, but they're up 9%. So we'll take a look at that. All right, on the downside, ADT's minus 9%. NNOX, yep, that's what we were on yesterday, so we'll check that out again, minus 8%. All right, we're going to look at Boeing. I don't see Boeing up here, but we'll see if they were affected by the negative news. All right, let's go up and check this screen. I have ADT already up on the trading screen. It's fallen like a rock, so I think that'll be a good one. All right, so let's look at that first, ADT. So get your ticker set up for ADT, because I really like how this is setting up. So $10.80 is where it closed. Down to $9.77 is where it is now. So again, this was the part I was just watching while I was talking here. Let's see where this bad boy has been. All right. So at the beginning of August, for earnings. They popped up significantly and been kind of fading off ever since. So yeah, I could see that having plenty of room to drop without much resistance. So definitely like the ADT play. Secondary public offering of shares, I missed that. Let's see where it's priced though. That may limit our downside. $10 per share at a price of $10 per share. So, that is probably going to kill our short because it's not going to go too much past that $10 a share. So, all right, back off the list. It'll probably hug right around that 976 or, between a quarter of $10. So nothing going there for ADT. Let's look at Boeing, see if they're gapping down at all. 163.49 to 162, not very much, not enough to use with our strategy. Let's look at NNOX. Again, I'm sorry, this wasn't yesterday. This was 2 days ago. We took NNOX on this drop. Zoom back in on it. So it was here that we took it. All right, so still basically a continuation. Unusual trading activity. So again, a lot of negativity there. Take a look at that. SYNH is another name. SYNH. Syneos Health, 61 down to 58.40. Secondary offering, that's going to limit it, so never mind on that. So really all I've got on the downside is that NNOX. See if we can tease something else out of here. Nope, not that's qualifying. So we may end up doing longs today. All right, longs out there, GILD. Again, this was off on another, this headline, COVID-19 drug candidate, 66.20 to 33, so it's hardly moving. So it was up 7%, or, well, that's not 7%. Maybe it's 0.7, I misread it. All right, FDX. Closed at 236, up to 255. Plenty of volume. So earnings beat, so that's something we could take a look at. Aveo is the cancer study. I probably like that a little better if it's holding up here and has volume. A little light on volume, so I may have to wait on it. 576 to close, up to 621 now. So man, it bumped all the way up here and then it's down to here. Don't like that pattern, but we'll take a look at it. At the open. BRC was another one we're going to take a look at. They beat earnings. I can't remember what their name is. Brady Corp, that was it. 46.11 to 48. All the way up to here. There's their earnings per share. Increased their dividend. See where this chart has been. All right, it's got room to go higher. Way light on volume, though. APDN. Applied DNA Sciences. Low volume, 816 to 840. This one has room to run. We got to wait on the volume. UPS is a sympathetic with FedEx. So in other words, going up because FedEx beat earnings means UPS will too, 161 to 168. Well, that stock is flatlined for basically a month and a half, goodness. $168, so keep an eye on that. Then VECO, and then we'll go to our tabs. I don't know what VECO does. Low volume, 11 to 1235. No real headline. I like the chart though. So I'll have to delay on volume as well. So I have a bunch of them written down at VOL next to it. for volume. So maybe a delayed entry today. All right. Here's our Kodak we talked about earlier, up 50%. Myomo up 38%. Goodness. Inovio up 10. Let's take that. Check that out. You know I like that name. It's IE, my favorite. 1360 up to 1499. Kind of on a rebound here. 1460, 1499. It's a little bit of a dart throw, but I do like it because of the chart. When you back it out, it's got so much more room to go higher because it's been higher. So probably take a look at that, watch that at the open. It's got all kinds of volume, so that makes it easy. All right, here's the volume column down to FedEx, 8%, so that meets our criteria. Adobe not gapping enough. So FedEx is the only one that meets our criteria there. Let's look at the decliners. Tesla, but not declining enough. Next, Terra. It's about the closest we can get. NEE. See if there's a headline associated with that. Snap's 3-day winning streak. Well, open, yep, open. Okay, I see that now. Selling a bunch more equity. That's going to bring it down at 50. Well, that can't be right. Each equity will be issued in a stated amount of 50. All right, not even going to try to figure out what that means on this chart. Let's see what else we got. All right, volume. There's FedEx. We got it. Capri, Yuko. We're back down out of the 5%. And last check, and we'll set up our charts. Inovio, heart of the envelope. There's that Aveo. That's going to be number 2. And there's DraftKings down too low to really worry about. Okay, let's go ahead and set up our charts. So looking at 2 longs and a short. Again, the market is up this morning. We'll refresh that while we get things set up. So I'm back on another screen, making sure we're still in the green here. ADT, $10 a share. Yep, thank you. All right, futures still in the green across the board. NASDAQ's about to go red, though, so it does look like it's fading here a little bit. So setting this up to the 1 minute, and then zooming in. All right, our long is we're going to go INO. This meets our criteria exactly for a long. And the headline actually is better out of Aveo, AVEO, which is the cancer, good news on a cancer drug, even though it's come down quite a ways. So we'll have to take a look at that and wait for the volume. And then our short, wonder why my name's right there. Our short, we'll take a look at NNOX again. On a 1 minute chart, no headline to go with it though. So we're set up long, long, and short. Not in love with any of these. So we're going to have to probably just wait for it to open. And let's check out NEE real quick on the short side. I like that better. NEE is down. How much was it down? Couple of percent. So pretty high price point. Might have to do probably $2 a share on this side. All right, here we go. Trade of the day. We have SPY set up on the left. You have Inovio long in the left screen, Aveo long in the middle screen. You got to wait for volume. And then NEE is a short on the right. So let's go ahead and get to trading. There is the opening bell. So you see the charts jump to life. Again, we're looking at long here in INO. There's the number at the top, 5%. So we wouldn't want them to sell off too much here. It can be kind of patient in a VEO, 5.73. Just kind of let it do its thing. I do like it long here. And then the NEE is a short, 3.5. Let's check out NNOX. Nope. Yeah, NNOX. See what it's doing. It's dropping. So let's keep that pulled up there. It's already dropped a couple shares, or a couple dollars, excuse me. All right, INO is supposed to be our long, so I do like that it's coming back up. So we would need it at 14.5 long. So 14.5 long for INO. I like that better than Aveo, which is just not moving. So 14.5 long there, we're in it. We are in long for, and we're setting up with a 30-cent stop. So 30 cents on your stop. It's a terrible arrow. 14.50 is where we got in. So down here at 14.21 is our stop. That would be bad news if it hit that. We're going to hold it basically for 3R, 14.8. There's your second R, 15.1. And then 1540 is our target on that for INO. Again, good news drug story is why we're in that trade. So we'll let that continue to watch. This isn't moving enough for me to bother taking it. NNOX was a short, a continuation. Kind of a lot of strength out of these dojis here. I don't like that. So let's get over and look at NEE. Zoom in a little bit there. Okay, we're in the INO trade long. We're up 1R, so just kind of letting that thing do its thing. 3 minutes into the day. All right, NE was a short. It did, I like this. If you want to take a second trade, tough on this entry because it's going to be a $2 stop. All right. Keep an eye on this over here. Again, 1540 is our exit point. If it hits that, I would be out, especially the way the pharmaceuticals move around. I would not get fancy with INO. All right. 25 teeth. No, I'm not gonna even try to enter this here. 285 would be the entry short if you were gonna do it, but with a $2 stop to cover all the way to 287. I'm just making some notes here, not taking the trade, just making a note so I can remember. If you took it at 285, you'd have to hold it all the way. Your upper stop would be 287. Again, this would be short. So then you'd have to come all the way down to get your 3R to 279. Back out just a little bit. No, not confident in this trade. You'd be in it. You'd have to hold all the way to 279. I just don't see that happening. Okay, let's get rid of Aveo here. I'm tired of looking at it. It's doing nothing for us. Let's look at FedEx long. FedEx did not continue long. Again, our gap is 5 to 10%. That kind of sold off into the gap. Aveo, we just looked at. INO, we're in. BRC. Again, this was long. Did not work at all. Sold off on low volume. Remember, these are low volume ones. APDN was another low volume. Not even gapping anymore, down to 1% of where it opened. UPS was up 5%. Let's check that out. It's pulling a FedEx. It's also selling off into that. So it's already down. It opened at 5% up, so down 3% on the day, 167 to 164. That's about 2% right there. All right. And VECO, Vico something or other. There's a long that worked. So by the time you get in it, though, it really jumped. So it jumped while we were, yeah. You could not have entered it right here. There's just no way. So that wouldn't have worked either. So again, the initial not much is working today kind of holds. So we'll see what happens with our trade and then go from there. Look at NNOX one more time. Again, this was our original short we were looking at. It is backed up. Well, yeah, it's backed up too far. It's almost even, so you can't really take that. So, all right, we'll keep eyeing INO. With the market just kind of trucking along here and it being kind of a weird day, you can kill your trade if you want. I don't normally just kill trades, but you can either hold this out for 3 or you can kill it right here. These dojis that you're seeing are signs of weakness, trying to go higher, can't, trying to go higher and can't. So I tend to set stops and forget it, but I would not have any issues with somebody killing it here at the 2-hour point, but we'll see. Of course, now that I say it's going to go right to the 3-hour point, right? So again, holding out for 1540 is what we want. 6 minutes into the day. And then we'll go back to our long-term trading. We're watching that. Dow's up 0.2, NASDAQ up 0.35, and S&P up 0.35. Market's showing the same thing. Trying to go higher, not going to happen. Trying to go higher, not going to happen. So yeah, I would kill this trade and just take your 2R. But I'll leave it up there for you. All right, let's look at we'll come back to it in a minute. Let's see what's going on in the bigger picture. DraftKings up 7.5% after being up, 20% yesterday? Kind of crazy. Go DraftKings. I have some calls in there I'm going to have to move now, which makes me happy. That means the stock's raging higher. Clickstream up a little bit. Had an option here. There's the DraftKings option I'm talking about. Need to move it. Twitter up. Northwest Bio up. It's been on fire. You want to see an interesting chart? Look at Northwest Bio. Penny stock pharmaceutical. But when you back it out, that doesn't look all that impressive. But when you take it out to the 180 day, how about that chart? Yep, screaming higher. So a lot of good movement there. All right, let's see what else. PayPal up, series up. A lot of names in the green. Nikola down 3.5, Tesla down 3, NEO down 2, Shell. These are all our EV names. Not too many names altogether, though. I don't see Luckin Coffee out there. Let's check on Luckin real quick. Crowd favorite. Up 2 cents on the day, so nothing exciting there. All right, let's check back on our trade. 1540 there, our trade has hit. So if you had your stop in, then you'd be out of the trade. And 3 R's on the day. Pencil, start working. Trying to draw a check mark for y'all, but it's not happening. Out of ink. There we go. Suppose I should give up on this because it's not important. All right, there you go. There's your check mark. All right, INO, nice trade. All right, let's go to the question of the day. So I'm going to share out a different screen for you. Back down here to the CNBC screen, and I've already talked about a lot of this, but here's your Investopedia, how an IPO is priced. It's a process, which is kind of the weird part. So, excuse me. So again, if all of us in the room, we decide to open up the morning brief, the OTOT morning brief, and we IPO it. So we know what our company's worth. We know what it's projected to be worth, and we're going to sit around and we're going to approach an investment bank. And we're going to pitch the investment bank about taking us public. Now, I would imagine if I show up in my flight suit at Goldman Sachs, I might get laughed out of the room. But you never know. When things get a little bit bigger, we'll see. But we go in there with a pitch deck, basically of here's the terms, here's how much money we think we can raise. They hit us with here's how much that'll cost in fees and whether they're even interested in bothering with it or not. This is in the movies. If you see the guys, I forget which one it was, where the guys are waiting to go upstairs, and one of the younger guys, like a 25-year-old, comes and talks to him and says, hey, just wanted to get you ready for your meeting, and takes a look at their slides and stuff, and then he kind of wishes them, a good day. Like, yeah, I'm your first fin, so you didn't make it by me. So you don't even get into the elevator to go upstairs to talk to anybody real. So maybe a movie, maybe that's how it works for real. I don't know. But yeah, this process of going public. Again, this entire process and the pain involved is why people are doing the special purpose acquisition companies. So several other factors: industry comparables, growth prospects, narrative of the company. A lot of it's just sheer hype. If you remember the Facebook IPO in 2012, everybody in Hollywood thought that Facebook was going up. So anyhow, IPO'd at around 20 a share, went all the way up to 40 some over the first couple days, crashed down into the teens. I bought in at either 16 or 17. I can't remember. I said 15 was when I was going to buy, and I couldn't wait once it dropped below 17. I was like, and a good thing I didn't, because it never actually did hit 15. But I was like, oh, good enough. I got to get in on it. And obviously it's been on fire since then to 288. So yeah, not bad to be in at 16. So that's what can happen around the IPO. This demand is that's where the investment bank now, like I have a Goldman Sachs guy I work with here in Austin. So he'll call me up on occasion and say, hey, I've got this thing, right? It's not an IPO he's talking about, but they talk to you about this thing they have, and are you interested in putting your clients in it? And if so, how much? They're trying to gauge interest in things. So anyhow, that's what goes on with the roadshow. This roadshow can take like 3 months for them to go around and talk to everybody in person. So here's an interesting, two identical companies can have different IPO valuations just because of the timing and market demand. Right now, IPOs are on fire. That's why there's 5 of them on a Do Nothing Wednesday, including likely Snowflake's going to be the largest IPO of the year. So we shall see. It's kind of on fire right now, and money has nowhere else to go. You cannot make money in bonds anymore because interest rates are too low. You can't keep it in high yield savings. You'll get eroded by inflation. So you got to be in the market, and why not get in on everything's moved up so high? Why not get in on something new? All right, risk. There's a ton of risk. It literally can go to 0. So IPO date, there's the last one we'll finish with. The Groupon debuted 2011. IPO date, stock opened at $28.40 in January of 2020. So what's that, 9 years later? Stock's trading at $3. So there's your now you've had to question yourself a lot between 28 and 3. So you need to put some fences on your investments. Like when it's 20, it's like, I don't know, is this still where I want to have all my money? Because it lost $8. A lot of people think things can't go lower. Yeah, they can. They for sure can. So that's a 90% loss in this particular IPO if you held it for 9 years. So anyhow, if you're interested in IPOs, reach out to me. We can figure it. There we go. Groupon now at 27.80.62. So yeah, maybe you're almost back to whole in Groupon. So all right, that's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for listening in, and we will check on you guys tomorrow. You guys have a good one. Bye.